joining me on Whitchurch Lane heading into Edgware, and this building here was, until about 10 years ago, was Edgware police station. It was quite a notable police station for this divisional area, but it closed down, empty for quite a long time, and now it appears to be accommodation of some kind. No name on it, nothing there, but yeah, people are living in there. So someone said it was a hostel, or it's a hotel, but it's pretty difficult to work out exactly what it is. These buildings, which have buses just conveniently gone past, those buildings there are probably the oldest buildings on this road, and this road used to be a lot narrower, and the police station was a police station on that site, but it would have been more about here where it came out to. This is a car showrooms, classic cars, used to sell all sort of high-end European sports cars, that sort of stuff, and now it seems to be, well, as it says, to let, but it was in fact built for Perry's, who were a Ford dealership, whose site actually extended back and on onto the Edgware Road. On the other side of the road there, B&K Salt Beef Bar and Restaurant, which a lot of people rave on about. I've never actually used it. I've lived in the area for over 10 years and never actually used it, but it's because that sort of thing ain't my sort of thing. And there's the back of what used to be Perry's, and then the site extended on to another car showrooms that Perry's had, so it's quite an extensive business. This Barber's used to be the off-sales or off-licence, brewery off-licence. There's tiles coming off for this place, which was the Mason's Arms. And the Mason's Arms ceased to exist as the Mason's Arms, again, probably about 8-10 years ago. And then it became a number of things, pretty run down, and now it's called Casablanca. And it's all very closed off. A private members club almost. So just to show you where we are in the world, massive sign saying London Borough Harrow, welcome to the, and that's a new piece of graphics that's been put on over the old sign, which was pretty shabby, because Harrow, its new political masters, which are Conservatives, decided to change the old logo. It did actually need changing, it was pretty horrible. So you can actually, if I just go in, I just noticed this, you can actually see the ghost sign for Mason's Arms there. It's looking a bit shabby. I better just take advantage of this green light, cross over at the Edgware Road. Notorious junction, this one. People act like complete idiots. And you can see more of the Mason's Arms there. So that's a building that would have got up in about 1928-30. Busy old road, this. Central Reservation. Now, I've posted on social media before about the fact that that building you see over there, that building there, is one of the older buildings on what is Edgware High Street, this is. And further down was the old White Hart pub, which is currently vacant and falling to pieces, which dates from the 17th century, believe it or not. But the other side of the road, this side of the road here, in fact actually originally was here. They widened the road in the 1930s, and then prior to that, when the trams came in, they had to actually widen it a bit further, and all the old buildings were sort of taken down. So this set of buildings here on the corner is called the Forum, and I've mentioned that on a previous video. So what in fact I'm doing is just joining up with the video I've done in the past, which I could probably put a link to at the bottom. And I've mentioned in the past that the buildings over in the distance there are a continuation of the older buildings that were on Edgware High Street, which are, some of those are very, very old indeed. So it's an area which is suffered from a lot of neglect. The problem it has, this specific point, is the fact that it, on this side, I'm pointing to, that's Harrow. And on this side, and there's a rather really shabby, horrible sign, actually, which you can just make out next to that Mill Hill sign. That's all terrible. I mean, If you ever wanted to see the sort of political differences between boroughs, this is it, this sort of junction point. Because I remember when the road here was in a really bad state because neither councils wanted to actually get it remedied. It's a sort of no man's land, this bit of road here. But yeah, I pointed out how shabby that sign over there is. I wish I could, well, I could go over there and show it to you, but it is appalling. And you know, this is now Labour run on this side. It was Tory, and on the other side of the road is now Tory, but it was Labour up until the last lot of local elections. So it shows you how things sort of change. Here's a rather nice finger post telling you where you need to go. Apparently the library's in that direction, but it's not. The library's actually in that direction, so someone's been having fun moving the signs around. And of course Barnet Council don't really seem to care. It's funny, isn't it? Change the political party and it didn't make the slightest bit of difference. That, where it says Coral, that was in the 1960s and 70s, was a Kett's electrical store. I can tell you that. And here, really nerdy ghost sign stuff here. But you can see that there, where all these little pin marks were, it would have said Pearl Assurance Limited, because there was the insurance offices above there. Right, and then we're moving up. Been a lot of changes here recently. That's a new shop. And the life of me, I can't remember. I think it was a fancy goods store or something, like party stuff. And we've got the church on the other side of the road, which is St Margaret's Church, which again is one of the older buildings here. It's had lots of extensions done to it. It's a rather charming little hall building that says Truth on it. And we're coming up to quite a notable, I may have said this in a previous video, so if I'm overlapping and you've watched a video like this before, then I apologise. But just past the Midnight Sun tanning salon, this was, back in the 1970s and 80s, was George Michael's father's kebab shop and restaurant. Can't remember what it was called. But yeah, George Michael was there. Oh no, it's this one. Sorry, beg your pardon. This one here. So this was George Michael's father's kebab shop. Don't ask me what that was. It's just another shop. But yeah, this one, Little Resham. That was a kebab stroke Greek restaurant, I think. And then here we go past the familiar site of the Railway Hotel, which carries on being shabby and badly looked after, waiting its fate. And the latest plans are that the land behind will see I think a 20-storey block potentially, although that has yet to be decided finally. A little opportunity to have a look at the lovely carving work above the off-sales, off-licence building. And here, that is all carved wood, that's not plastic. That's all the real deal. And there's lots more of that sort of thing on there. And if I was to close in, you can see it there. This building dates from 1930. I've often said it was earlier than that, or later than that, but I believe it was opened in 1930, or finished in 1930. I'm currently on the ground floor, where there's a door with Future Force engraved onto it. That in fact is currently a place selling rugs, large rugs. Don't ask me what that's about. Ask no questions and you'll get no lies. Nice pile of bricks. That's where the brick wall was smashed into, and the owner of the building never bothered to get it repaired, despite being asked to several times. The last owner of this building was a bit of a disgrace, to put it mildly. Not going to mention his name, but he was. And the old post office, which is of course why you've got a post box there, and also buying stamps back in the day. And that would have been a post office until probably only about 15 years ago. And I've done a video where I walked into this bit here, which is into Sainsbury's and the Broadwalk Shopping Centre car park, but this was originally where the first Edgware train station, the Great Northern Railway station, was. Not anymore. I'm just going to wait for this traffic to filter through. Obviously going to Sainsbury's to go and buy stuff. And at last, actually, I've only just realised all the scaffolding that was here for the better part of 2 years has come down, because Premier House, which is the great tower block here, was originally built for Green Shield stamps, trading stamps, in the early 60s. The cladding on that building was done by the same company who did Grenfell Tower, and they eventually got round to sorting out whatever issues were with it recently, and it's been redone, although suspiciously the outer surface is exactly the same, so I assume it's the stuff behind it. So it didn't spare any expense there, just reuse what they had before. On the other side of the road, actually I did do a video where I couldn't finish the video off because I was harassed by someone, this drunk guy. This was at like 7:30 in the morning, which is about the same time as it is now, and I had to just stop doing the video because he was giving me such a hard time. I think he was a bit sort of delusional, but there you go. So I'll just carry on and I'll do that bit of video that I would have done then. Past the what used to be a Woolworths. That's lots of fruit. And then that used to be where the cinema was, just over there. The Ritz Cinema, which was built in the late 1920s and then came down about year 2000 thereabouts, and then this block of flats was put on its site. Some nice piles of rubbish. And then what we're getting up to here, we can see that Robert Dias. This would have originally been where buses I think either came in or left from the entrance to the old bus station, because all this site was all redeveloped back in the 1990s for the Broadwalk Shopping Centre. This is a new apartment block which took a long time to get built and still appears to be unoccupied. There's no obvious signs of anybody living in there, but my theory on that was because this whole area is going to be a big building site within the next, I don't know, but this is for the Ballymore development, and presumably it's felt that no one would want to move in there when they're doing building work because it's going to be a big job. So it's presumably mothballed, but homeless people could live in there, eh? I mean, you know, it's just, what a joke. It's supposed to have a housing shortage, and yet that block has sat empty for, I think, at least 2 years. Over there, where that Starbucks is, that was originally built for the coal and coke company. It was the people who used to make gas for London, and they had a showrooms there, so you could have a look at gas appliances, heaters, that sort of thing. And they used to do demonstrations in that building, apparently, I think on the first floor. And then it was North Thames Gas, and now it's Starbucks. How things have moved on. Progress. The Metro Bank. All this frontage was redone about, I don't know, 10 years ago, because it was all looking a bit late 80s, early 90s. So we're now heading towards the station, and the only reason why I'm doing this video this morning is because the Metropolitan line's down and I've got to use the Northern line on my way to work. So Express Mansions, that's because there used to be accommodation above what was a Express Dairy that filled this building from the late 20s onwards, and in fact actually extended beyond the end here. There was a bigger building but they pulled the end down to make this entrance and exit point into the bus station that exists now. Nice big rut in the road that continually happens. And over there, doing a little bit of pothole investigation. Try not to get run over, Mark. Nice and dangerous. So there we are, and we finish our marvellous odyssey at Edgware station, which will look very different in the future if Ballymore and the Mayor of London has his way, although that building will almost certainly stay, but everything around it will change. But I won't miss that horrible mural or that horrible advertising board which clashes so badly against the mural. Thank you for watching.